Hi everyone, welcome back to another Reddit cheating story. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and notification bell if you love to watch more cheating stories. After I pressure my wife, she spill the beans and admit she sleep with her friend during a couple trip. Hello, just wanted to share my story with people that have been through what I went through. So I was married with a 2 almost 3-year-old daughter when I found out my wife 26F cheated on me. This happened when she went on a cruise with her 2 girlfriends. They left and came back, then a few days later, after getting back, my ex-wife now states that she thinks we need to separate for a while, the day before my daughter's 3rd birthday party. This was out of nowhere, we had never had this kind of discussion before. Backstory: I was in school at the time, working full-time and taking care of my daughter in between, along with moving to a new house in our town. We would argue, and honestly didn't have the best communication skills. With all that being said, when she asked me about going on the cruise, I said sure, no problem. She watched our daughter the majority of the time, and I felt like it would be a nice thing for her to do with friends. Even though we didn't really have the money to be doing it at the time. I would watch our daughter while she went. So after she asked me about separating, I was very upset and ended up leaving for the night to go to my parents' house. We ended up canceling her birthday party with the family. We end up talking and agreeing to try and work things out. So I find a marriage counselor and get us going to her that week. We were going for about 3 to 4 weeks until I found out the real reason for her wanting to separate. The 2 friends that went with her on the cruise were mutual friends of mine too, and we all actually worked together at that time. Friend 1 was acting semi-normal. Friend 2 was a little uneasy talking with me and knew about my ex-wife wanting to separate with me. She knew we were going to counseling now and asked me how everything was going. I told her I thought it was going well. Also of note, my wife at the time was telling me that friend 2 was acting weird on the cruise and got upset at her. Friend 1 didn't really disclose anymore. So fast forward to me and friend 2 talking at work, when I tell her friend 1 and my ex-wife were going to another city for a girls' trip that next week. That's when she tells me hesitantly about some guy whose name I had never heard. She had been talking to my then wife about it all, trying to get her to come clean about the whole thing to me. My ex-wife had told her that she stopped talking to the guy and wasn't going to do anything else. She also told me that friend 1 also slept with a guy on the cruise and they were trying to get friend 2 to join with the 3rd guy. I go home after work and confront her about this guy. She tries to deny the whole thing. I press her more. She finally acknowledged that she had slept with him on the cruise. She was also still actively talking and texting him daily while we were going to marriage counseling. That day I moved out and got a lawyer. We agreed upon a split custody of our daughter until we figured everything out. We discussed our relationship more and more, and finally agreed upon trying to reconcile a few weeks after me moving out. I drove all the way to our house. I had moved in with my parents at that point, 45 minutes away. When I got there, I said, if we are going to do this, you have quit talking to the guy and friend 1 who you did all this with. She wouldn't do it. She wouldn't quit talking to him and her to salvage a 9-year relationship. That's when I knew she wasn't the person I thought she was. The coming months were absolute hell. She would manipulate me into watching our daughter on her days so she could go to see her new boyfriend up north. Lies after lies after lies. She quit talking to friend 2 since she told me what happened. She told me it was my fault at one point because we didn't communicate well and would argue. Put me though absolute hell. Fast forward, friend 2 and I became even closer friends through this all and started dating each other. We've been dating each other for over a year now. She is a good person with the same moral values as me and loves my daughter just as much as me. I have 50-50 custody of my daughter, which I love. I keep thinking, why did this happen to me? But I've come to realize it's made me stronger. She was in the wrong. No matter how bad she says our relationship was, doesn't excuse the lies, cheating, and manipulative behavior she put me through. Also, around 9 months after everything, she came crawling back to me, saying it was all a mistake and she was sorry. This and that. Wanted to work it out. She had quit talking to him a few months after everything got total bullshit. She showed me her true character when I was bawling my eyes out after finding out about the cheating and her spitting all over me. Sorry for the long read, felt good to write it out. I'm in a great place in my life with a beautiful woman and daughter who appreciates me. Comments from the community. Thanks for sharing your story. Hopefully other people will learn from your experiences. I have a lot of wild stories, odd stories, I think unusual stories, but all within the range of normality in human behavior. I have heard of your situation a number of times, which, to me, has two aspects: 1, meeting a guy she is intrigued with, and 2, camaraderie in dating guys in tandem with her friend. So when I was a young man, I saw both of these situations play out. There was a guy I played ball with. He was a year older, and he had a brother, who was a few years younger. One brother met a girl, dated, and the girl introduced her friend to brother number 2. One brother got engaged, the other brother got engaged, one got married, the other got married, one had a kid, the other had a kid, one got a house, the other bought a house right next door. I knew the brothers enough, they didn't do this because of the camaraderie they had together. This was largely propelled by the two best girlfriends, who pushed the boys to propose, live next to each other, etc. We got older, I saw the boys and their wives less and less, but still we had the same big network of 6 degrees of separation, so I'd hear any big news and anybody in this big circle. One day I am told, one wife left one brother, the very next day, the other wife left the other brother. I'm sorry, I don't know more than that, if any begging happened afterwards, but both got divorced, eventually remarried. More likely, in my experience, one friend wouldn't get married, or leave a marriage, because the other friend did. But so many times, I've seen toxic friends influence the affair, cheerleader it, encourage it, and having a partner in crime helps not to feel so guilty to support. Say, in the case of a wife cheating, you go, girl, you deserve this. Guys do it a little differently, but basically the same feeling. Which do you think was the situation in your wife's case? Does she be so willing to leave the marriage for a guy she only met a relatively short time ago if not for the toxic friend? Or was she that enamored of this new guy that she was willing to roll the dice with him? No offense, but you sound like an advocate of your ex-wife with the second line of your comment. Toxic friends can't force you to do things against your wishes unless they put a gun to her head. What your wife did afterwards, still contacting AP during counseling, meeting him again and again, wasn't under the influence of friend 1. That was her revealing her real self to you. Toxic friend is just an excuse like alcohol when people say sorry I was drunk so I had no control, which is just BS. It seems like a classical case of limerence followed by the affair fog. She hooked up with the affair partner and everything seemed all rosy, like she's wearing the tinted rose-colored glasses. She wasn't thinking about her future. When a person is in this state of mind, they never think about mortgage, taxes, waking up in the morning smelling each other's smelly breath. All they are thinking about is the present and how great the sex is. Then after a short while the affair fog wears off, then they realize what they just lost. Now they're ready to come crawling back, and by that time the damage is done. It happens all the time. I really feel bad about how short-sighted people can be. I'm so glad that you dealt with it the way you did. I sincerely hope that you and your new partner have a wonderful relationship. So good luck, stay strong and make wise decisions. I've noticed a weird psychological shift that happens in many of these stories that include wayward wives, it like something akin to a midlife crisis. As the curtain began to close on the youth of their past life and they see the long stretch of road before them, they buckle and try hard to stop the curtains from coming down. And in doing so, they ruin everything they work for and everyone around them. As if a switch is flipped, and all they can see is that one last hurrah, and anyone in their way is damned. Then the curtains settle upon the floor, the stage lights are powered off, and no one is watching them play, and they finally realize the extent of their actions. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell.